There is a prison that has no visible walls, no iron bars, no locks you can touch with your hands. And yet millions of people live inside it every single day. They wake up in it. They make decisions inside it. And some go to their graves never having stepped outside of it even once. That prison is called fear. And I want you to understand something from the very beginning. Fear is not just an emotion. Fear is a spiritual force. And if it is not recognized and confronted through the power of God, it will quietly control every area of your life without you even realizing it is happening. Think about Adam, the very first man. The man who walked with God in the garden, face to face, unashamed and unafraid. And then sin entered. And the very next thing the Bible records is one of the most revealing sentences in all of Scripture. Genesis 3 verse 10. Adam says to God, "I heard you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid." I was afraid, so I hid. That is the anatomy of fear working in a human soul. Something happened. Shame came in. The immediate response was to run from God, to hide from the very one who loved him most and could help him most. Fear did not protect Adam. Fear isolated him. Fear cut him off from his source of life and strength. And fear has been doing that same thing to people ever since. It whispers the same lies in every generation. You are not enough. God cannot use someone like you. It is too late. Stay hidden, stay small, stay safe. Here is a daily life example. There is a person who has a genuine gift from God, maybe teaching, maybe encouragement, maybe leadership. And every time an opportunity comes to step forward, fear rises up. What if I fail? What if people judge me? What if I am not good enough? And so the gift stays buried. Not because God withdrew it, but because fear convinced them it was never really there. That is fear controlling someone spiritually. Not with chains, with whispers. The prophet Elijah experienced this powerfully. He had just called down fire from heaven on Mount Carmel. He stood alone against 450 false prophets and did not flinch. And then one woman, Queen Jezebel, sent him a threatening message, and Elijah ran, collapsed under a tree in the wilderness, and said in 1 Kings 19 verse 4, "I have had enough, Lord, take my life." The same man who watched God send fire from heaven was now broken by one threatening message, because fear does not operate by logic. Fear strikes at the deepest and most vulnerable place inside a person, and in that moment, even the strongest believer can crumble. But God did not lecture Elijah. He did not rebuke him for running. He sent an angel who touched him gently and said, "Get up and eat. The journey is too much for you." God met Elijah in his fear with gentleness, with rest, and with a still small voice. Not in the spectacular. In the whisper, God meets you the same way, right where you are, with more grace than you think you deserve. Fear does not just make you feel bad. It actively controls your spiritual life in very specific ways. And once you can name what fear is doing to you, you can begin to break free. Fear keeps you from obedience. God calls and fear says not yet. God opens a door and fear says, what if it closes on you? God says go and fear says, but what if you fail? Moses knew this feeling well. When God called him at the burning bush to go back to Egypt and lead the Israelites out of slavery, Moses did not jump up with excitement. He argued. Exodus 4 verse 10. He said, "I am slow of speech and tongue. I am not the right person for this." Moses was afraid, and his fear was dressed up as humility. That is one of the most common things fear does. It disguises itself as being realistic, as being reasonable. But underneath, it is simply the refusal to trust God more than you trust your own limitations. And God said to him, "Who made your mouth? Is it not I, the Lord? Now go. I will help you speak and teach you what to say." God was saying, "Moses, you are looking at your weakness and I am looking at my strength, and what I have is more than enough." For instance, you may be feeling called to something right now. A step of faith, a difficult conversation, a ministry, and every time you think about moving forward, fear rises up with a list of reasons why you are not ready. And you wait, and you wait, and the calling remains, but the action never comes. That is fear controlling your obedience, and it is costing you more than you know. Fear also distorts your image of God, and this is perhaps the most dangerous thing it does, because how you see God determines everything about how you relate to Him. Fear tells you God is disappointed in you, that He is keeping score, that His love is conditional and easily withdrawn. And when you believe those lies, prayer becomes a performance and worship becomes an obligation. Remember the servant in Matthew 25, who received 1 talent and buried it in the ground. When his master returned, he said, "I was afraid of you because you are a hard man." That servant had a completely wrong picture of his master, and that wrong picture caused him to do nothing, to bury what he had been given, to waste the opportunity entirely. 1 John 4 verse 18 says, "There is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear." Not willpower, not self-improvement. The love of God, experienced deeply and personally, is what breaks the grip of fear on a human soul. So if fear has been running your life, quietly controlling your decisions, silencing your gifts, keeping you hidden, I want you to bring that fear honestly to God today, not to perform, not to pretend it is not there, but to say, "Lord, I am afraid, and I need you to be bigger in my heart than this fear has been." He will answer that prayer. He answered it for Moses. He answered it for Elijah. He answered it for Peter, who once denied Jesus out of fear and later stood before thousands and preached boldly without flinching. The same God who strengthened them is the same God who is with you right now. You do not have to be fearless to take the next step. You just have to be willing to trust Him one step further than your fear tells you to go. And He will meet you there. He always does. 2 Timothy 1 verse 7 says it beautifully. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. That is your inheritance as a child of God, not fear. Power, love, and a sound mind. Walk in it. Thanks for watching. If this message blessed you, please like and subscribe for more lessons. Stay blessed.